So here's the big question, like, is cold email dead in 2025? And I'll say definitely not if you're doing it right. We use it to book meetings every single week, every day for ourselves. It's still very much alive, but here's where it would be dead. If you're using a newsletter specific platform that doesn't have cold email optimization built into it. So like MailChimp or ActiveCampaign, where you're treating a newsletter platform, but you're using it for cold outbound prospects, not for like a warm list.
Yeah.
Think cold email is dead? Well, think again. This episode of the Scalable Marketing Machine podcast is a masterclass in outbound strategy for 2025. And we brought in heavy hitter Stephen Lawrence to break it all down. This week's episode is actually a sneak peek inside the Scalable Marketing Machine Accelerator program, where we bring experts like Stephen in each and every month to teach a masterclass on what their expertise is, which is usually a specific marketing tactic, and we do a deep dive. So this week, Stephen is telling us how to crack the code to cold outbound email in 2025. And Stephen isn't your average marketer. He's actually a former engineer turned cold email wizard. And he's showing us how to build a precision outbound system that scales without spamming or guessing. In this behind the scenes look at our accelerator program, Stephen shares the 3 pillars of cold email success, which is infrastructure, data, and messaging, and how to get all 3 of those right. We talk about the biggest mistakes founders make when trying to do outbound. Hint, hint, your VA shouldn't be winging it. We discuss real-world campaigns that booked 15 plus meetings in a month and why fast follow-up is everything. And last, we talk about the best tools for deliverability, automation, and AI-driven personalization, plus what not to use. So please don't send cold emails from MailChimp. So whether you're a founder ready to grow or a marketing leader tired of paid ads being your only lever, this is your permission slip to try outbound the right way. Let's get into it.
Hi, everyone. I want to welcome Stephen Lawrence to our mastermind this month, and he's going to be teaching us all about what it takes to run or why it's important, why it's still relevant, to run a cold outbound email strategy to bring in more leads and more sales opportunities for your business. And I met Stephen online, and we've met a couple times virtually, and I just think you're just a crackerjack at what you do, and I learn every time we talk. So I'm really excited to bring you here to introduce you to some of our folks and to sort of spread the word through our channels. And I'm going to turn the mic over to you. You've got a really juicy presentation for us. It's jam-packed, guys, so get ready to take notes. You're going to learn so much, and take it away.
All right, awesome. Thank you for the great introduction, Victoria. And like she mentioned, I'll be sharing with you all of what you need to know to like make cold email successful in 2025 from an infrastructure standpoint, how you should go about the lead sourcing, and then messaging. The way I see cold email is it's like half a technical challenge that a lot of companies don't get right. A lot of marketers, they're good at marketing, they're good at messaging, but they don't know how to make it work from a technical perspective. And then they're stuck like scratching their head on why it's not working, despite having a good offer and despite thinking that you're sending out good targeted messages. So I'll be walking through everything you need from a cold email perspective to how to make it work. And then also things that you could do to help supplement what you're doing as well. So like things outside of cold email. And then also kind of how to think about marketing versus sales, and what Victoria's talking about, how if you're also like you're running like a lean team, how you can get your salespeople more in the zone of converting the sale, converting the lead, doing what they want to do, not like messing around with a bunch of tech and stuff that's like cold email heavy and automation heavy. So I'll be sharing everything today. I'll start sharing my screen. And I have a presentation for you. Yeah, thank you.
I'm ready to take notes because I know I'm going to, like, just by your table of contents, like I know I'm going to learn so much. So I'm ready to take notes.
And by the way, too, I'll share you guys the link to this presentation after the call too, or in the chat. So you can read my slides.
Yes, we'll send it out. Yeah.
Great. Okay, so here's cold email lead generation in 2025. I'll be going over what we're talking about, but first I want to share like why you should pay attention to me and like what makes me credible to even talk about something like this, just so you guys can know that it's coming from a place of having done it before and having seen success in a couple of different industries. So here's our experience with cold email. As you can see probably on the camera, I'm pretty young. I initially went to school actually for engineering, which I'll go into in the next slide. But we got started with email marketing 2 years ago. We actually started off with learning about email newsletter, and my very first client ever was an email newsletter client to help them get more attendees to their networking events. He ran a networking company in Orlando. But we quickly switched over to cold email because we thought that was much more valuable and much more attractive to companies to get them new leads in the door, not using like their existing list. So like newsletter, you have like your list of leads that you are warm contacts, and then you can convert them further and nurture them further. With cold email, the way I bucket that category is like in the outbound category. So reaching out to new prospects, people that don't know you yet, don't know about your company, and then finding a way to put them through an interested, get them a messaging sequence that will turn those people into an interested lead, get them on a meeting with you, and then hopefully acquire a client from cold email. So we've worked with over 30 companies, primarily in the marketing industry, but a few other industries are AI and software. We're really good with AI and automation. We actually package that a lot into what we do for cold email, which I'll be getting into as well. But we've worked with accounting, private equity. We worked with a clothing manufacturer, a supplement company in the health space for weight loss. And we also worked with the sales coaching and consulting agency that worked with like big sales teams like insurance companies, car dealerships, that type of thing. We've booked hundreds of meetings at this point, and not every interested lead converts into a meeting. So we've actually generated a lot more interested leads as opposed to meetings. But we have a good nurture sequence. And if you want to learn more about this, I can talk about how to like have the highest conversion rate from an interested lead into actually booking them a meeting on your calendar. We've primarily done for you services. So either cold email system builds, script writing for you. We've done fully done for you, like where you hand it to us, we do strategy, we consult with you, but then we run your email outreach for you. And then we've also done some purely on consulting. So getting on calls, strategizing, writing your email sequence, helping you identify the right leads to target, how to put everything together, anything under the cold email umbrella. And I'll be showing you guys how I categorize cold email and like how to think about each step. And now, since we're really into AI and software and we're trying to increase the efficiency at which you can run cold email, we're now focused on also creating software products around cold email fulfillment and how to make everything even easier now, despite having like a full system already built. So we're trying to use AI as much as we can where it is necessary without removing the human touch and like the human element. We'll have products coming out pretty shortly. We're getting close, but so here's some screenshots of results. So we have way more companies that we could put in here, but two good ones I wanted to show. One marketing agency that we worked with over the course of from April 10th to around June 15th, generated 27 interested opportunities. And after talking with them, they ended up booking, I believe, over 15 of those into meetings on their calendar. And they sold products that were in the LTV, client LTV, lifetime value range of anywhere from like 5,000 to 12,000 were their packages. So they were very happy with the results. And this was like the very first month of sending for them after we got their whole system built up. We sent out 13,000 emails over the course of this time. Open rate was really positive for cold email. Like typically you're getting way less than that. And then the reply rate was good too. So you can see how these numbers would like translate into opportunities when you're sending at really high volumes. And we'll show you like how we actually have each message being personalized and everything later. And then here's a sales team that worked for a founder. So the founder wanted to come to us. She was getting a lot of leads from cold calling, and she was primarily doing LinkedIn, but she could never crack cold email. And it's because of all the technical challenges. She was sending out a pretty good message, but she didn't know how to get the technical component working. And what we did was we built a cold email infrastructure for her, built her like the engine, and then we trained her VAs. Her VAs were actually in the Philippines that were like managing all the manual stuff for email and LinkedIn outreach. And what they did is they took our system and then they generated a ton of meetings for cold email. And the VAs were like the virtual assistants in the Philippines were super happy with us because she gave them commission off of what they were selling. And we have like a VA in the Philippines for her now that's making like $100,000 a year. Not even kidding. It's the craziest thing ever. Which is like, obviously in the Philippines, you're like rolling in it if you're making 100K. So But yeah, we got cold email to work for her, and every other channel was working except for cold email, and we got it to work for her. So here's my background before Bluecraft. So my company is Bluecraft Leads, blue in terms of like the color blue, and then craft like you're crafting emails. I currently live in Orlando, Florida. And before cold email, I actually have a unique background where you wouldn't expect me to be in the cold email marketing game. I actually went to the University of Florida and got an engineering background in mechanical engineering. And then I was the youngest intern at my Orlando Lockheed Martin facility, interned there for a few years, and then became a this is a kind of a fun title here, hypersonic missile test engineer at Lockheed Martin, where I was like traveling across the country and primarily working with software and the tech behind like how to actually get the stuff to work for Lockheed. So most marketers don't have
we're in good hands with you then, Stephen.
Thank you.
I think I'm going to switch to that from marketing. Is that going to work for me?
We're going to all go the opposite. Exactly.
Hey, it can be done. You just got to go to school for it, you know?
I'm done with that.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so I have like this approach of like, I want to take engineering precision to lead generation. And I want to learn how to like make marketing frameworks and how to make an approach that has more precision and that takes in like common marketing frameworks and like what is going to work the best. I'm a very academically minded person and I like handling all the information. So yeah, I wanted to take an engineering precision approach to lead generation. And then here's my co-founder's background. So I'm a two-person team in terms of the founders. We have other people that work for us as well. But this is my cousin. He shares my same last name. He's my same age. We live together. We work together. He's Michael Lawrence. He got a marketing degree from Florida State University and had a lot of sales experience selling solar. But then a lot of what he did actually translated well into what we do now, which is cold email lead generation, because he was tasked with selling financial services and new like software that KPMG accounting was creating to Fortune 500 companies. And he primarily worked with cold email, LinkedIn, and cold calling. It's a little bit different when you're going after Fortune 500, but a lot of the principles that he learned at his job working there for 2 years, he's now helped us with taking those strategies. And then we use a lot of automation in the background. He was like super frustrated because as we're working on our stuff, he was like, dude, it could be so much easier at KPMG. They don't let us use any automation. They don't let us do any sort of high volume outreach. It's like all manual and it would take like hours every day to send out like 20 emails. And we've created a system where you can send out like hundreds of emails every single day, Monday through Friday. So he now works full-time with me. He's been out of his job for around a year now. So we run the company together. Okay, so now let's get into the meat of the actual presentation. So I have this agenda for you here today. So first, I want to talk about marketing and sales relationship. So how does marketing differ from sales and how it works, particularly in my mind, for cold email? And then I want to also talk about the 3 primary outbound channels. So in my opinion, you have cold email, LinkedIn, and cold calling as the main 3. And I'll tell you like how I envision them differently. We've worked with all 3. And then the common questions like, I can't get cold email to work. Is cold email dead in 2025? I'll answer that question before moving on because it is not dead, but it is dead if you don't do it the right way. And then how to think about cold email as a channel and how you can think about it in terms of like the psychology around how you should go about approaching everything within cold email. And then the next 2 are going to be really important: how to have your best shot at cold email success. And then the 3 core cold email components that you absolutely must nail and get right and master in order to get results. It is a difficult thing, but if you follow the core 3 and you do everything right, you're going to have a good outcome with cold email. And then finally, we're on the cutting edge of AI and implementing automation advantages into our systems. And I'll show you exactly how you could use AI and automation to help yourself. And then I'll go over our offer, what we provide to clients. We have a couple of different offers, but I'll talk about the main one for you today. And then I also have some free stuff I can give you just for joining the call and listening today that I think you'll enjoy. And then as Victoria mentioned too, we'll open it up. I'll answer any questions you have and we'll get all that rolling too. So here to help. Okay, so marketing and sales relationship. The way I see it in my mind, and you guys might differ on this because you guys have all had marketing experience and you're founders and had more experience than me, but the way I see it is I view it as traffic generation versus traffic conversion. So traffic generation, like how are you even bringing the opportunity to the table? I view traffic generation as anything lead generation. So like cold email, cold calling where you're trying to get the meeting booked, outbound content. So if you're creating like YouTube channel stuff or you're doing LinkedIn content, and you're bringing leads in the door from inbound content, that is what I would view as traffic generation. And then traffic conversions, things like sales, or if you're trying to convert somebody on an email newsletter after they've already been brought into a list and they've opted in, anything with conversion. So, and in my opinion, better marketing creates an easier sale. So I'll talk about this too, but one of the challenges and the disadvantages of cold email is that you're reaching out to like cold prospects. They don't know you. They don't know your company, most likely. I mean, they might know you, but most of the time they don't know you. So you guys have all gotten cold emails before. You get the cold email. If it isn't like very intriguing or it doesn't catch your attention in a specific way, you're most likely going to ignore it. So in my opinion, a lot of the background work you have to do too is like, what are you doing to establish authority on the internet? How are you building trust? What type of ask are you making in the cold email? Because obviously you can't like say, buy my $5,000 thing over cold email. Nobody's going to trust you until they do their due diligence, get on a call with you. So I'll be talking about how you can make that process easier and overcome that disadvantage on cold email so that you can actually book the meetings and generate trust in a way that is like very hard, because cold email is a hard channel to actually do that. And then a question I have for you is like, think about how you're currently generating your leads. So depending on your offer, I would recommend different strategies. But yeah, are you running paid advertisements? Are you creating content on the internet? Are you getting most of your leads from referrals? Are you trying to run cold email? Is it successful? What barriers are you running into? LinkedIn, cold calling, what are you currently doing to generate leads? This is what I look at for every client that I work with. And then I try to form cold email, fit cold email into their strategy effectively so that they can continue running the other stuff and then have cold email be kind of like a compounding effect for them. Because if you're running a lot of content and you're running a lot of other marketing, having that additional channel of cold email is going to get you in front of their face more, and they'll be able to see that you have content out there, and they'll probably have been hit with an ad as well. So it just all compounds into each other. The more you have going, the easier cold email is going to be. Still very possible to make cold email work by itself too, though. Okay, so here's kind of like a fun analogy I created. I actually didn't create it. I took it from somebody else, but here's a yeah, sorry. I took it from somebody else, but here's a cold email and outbound channels in terms of the dating market. So in my opinion, cold email is kind of like Tinder. There's a lot more people. It's easier to ignore. People probably are a bit less serious. Like they're like, hey, I just got this cold email. Like, who's this guy? You know? You know, so it's tougher. It's a tougher game, but it's easier to scale, which I'll get down here too. And it is very valuable. Then you have LinkedIn, which I view as kind of like a Match.com, where there's going to be less people out there, but they're probably more serious and they get to see your profile more. Like when you're reaching out over a social media channel, they get to see your face and name right there right away. So you don't have to do as much to overcome the trust variable. Like they know you're a real person. They can see your profile. They can see what you do right away without having to search on their own. And then cold calling, I view as like the hardest channel, but also very, very valuable. It's like cold approaching someone in real life. So like you're interrupting them. I mean, you guys have gotten cold calls. It's tougher, harder to scale in terms of like you have to train a team, you have to do more dials. It's manual. But yeah, very, very good approach there too. They all work. They all have their advantages and disadvantages. The way I see it, cold email is by far the most technical. However, it's the easiest to scale because you can run it all in the background once you get it right and you put everything together. The disadvantage is that you have lower initial trust. With LinkedIn, it's much less technical. You don't have to worry as much about like spam words. You don't have to worry about like destroying your website or like your domain. But the scale is very constrained unless you do shenanigans where you have like multiple accounts that aren't you like hooked up to a system. So the scale is constrained because with LinkedIn, they're going to limit you to say like 20 connections per day or like 100 per week, which is very common. So you can't run like 300 emails in a day, like LinkedIn messages in a day, like you can with email. But there's more trust. You have a social media profile there. And then cold calling is less technical. You need a good way to organize your information in a good CRM system and good follow-up, but the scaling is manual. You do dials per day. One advantage of it though is you get fast feedback because people talk to you and they'll
or they're like, don't ever call me again.
Right, exactly, right. You get way more rejections to your face on cold calling, but then when you get into the body, you get to, if you do it the right way, you can see like what they're actually looking for, why, like you're going to get the objection handles fast. So it's a pretty fast feedback loop, and it doesn't take as much like warming of the system, which I'll explain. So here's the big question, like, is cold email dead in 2025? And I'll say definitely not if you're doing it right. We use it to book meetings every single week, every day for ourselves. It's still very much alive, but here's where it would be dead. If you're using a newsletter specific platform that doesn't have cold email optimization built into it, so like MailChimp or ActiveCampaign, where you're treating a newsletter platform, but you're using it for cold outbound prospects, not for like a warm list.
Yeah, this is where earlier in my career, I ran into a lot of trouble because I didn't understand. I didn't understand the technical side of it, and I completely ran a volume outbound from a like a Brevo account, and it was awful. It was getting shut down every other week, and you know, again, but also didn't do a lot of the other things. So continue on your list.
Yeah, it's very common to have something like that happen. Almost everybody that's tried to run cold email has done it the wrong way the first time and run into roadblocks. So that's very common. The most common ones we get are like, hey, I hooked up a bunch of cold prospects to my MailChimp and then Google shut down my domain because they're sending it all from one domain. Or they'll use like their HubSpot CRM platform, and then they'll try to send out a blast from HubSpot, which actually used to work pretty well back in like 2023 and maybe even early 2024. But right now, if you try to do that, it's going to really shut you down. You have to be more of a cautious, like professional when you approach cold email now, and I'll show you how to do it. So one of them that's very common too is you don't verify your lead emails. So what I mean by that is you aren't using a software to check if the email is active, because as an email service provider, say like you're on Gmail, you're emailing your colleagues, you're emailing people that you know, you're almost never going to have an email bounce. Like you're almost never going to send an email to somebody where the email doesn't exist, maybe if you type it in wrong. But if you don't verify your lead list, you don't verify the emails, you're going to have like 10%, 20% of people on there where their email is no longer active. It's flagged by the provider, the email service provider for some reason. And then when you send to them, you're going to get like a 5 to 15, 20% bounce rate. And then you're going to be immediately flagged by Google or Outlook that you're a cold emailer because this is not usual activity. So that's a great way to get your email flagged right away. And people don't know that there are softwares out there where you can easily verify emails. So that's a very important step. So you're going to
the other thing I think another thing that people don't know, if you're pulling lead lists from Apollo, for example, I think we expect that these lists are going to be clean. They're not. Like, I mean, from conversations, right, with you guys like Steven that does this for a living, it's like, even when you pull those lead lists from Crunchbase or Apollo or whatever, they still need to be cleaned, right? They still do.
I'm so glad that you brought that up. I should have included that in the presentation. Yeah, you cannot trust like your software, Apollo, Crunchbase scrape. You really can't. You have to put them through another verifier and then only send to the safe emails. And then if you want to try to enrich for some of the risky emails, there's other softwares to do that as well. But yeah, you definitely have to double verify, put it through your own software, and then only send to the safe email. So thank you, Victoria. A very important note. And then, but when I say bad offer packaging, I mean, you're taking your offer and you're not optimizing it in a way where you're communicating it for the channel of cold email. So just, you can make that one say like bad messaging, or you're not diversifying your offer in any way, or sorry, differentiating your offer in any way. We'll get into some offer notes. Then you have poor lead targeting. So if you're sending out to a random list where it could be anyone on the list, you're not like segmenting it by industry or by persona, like job title or company size, or you don't have like any relevance baked in, which I'll show you, you're going to have a hard time getting a lot of replies. And the reason that one makes it dead is because you just don't get any good email replies, or you get a lot of people saying, this is spam, don't email me again. The email service providers pick that up, and then they're going to be less likely to trust your domains, your email accounts, etc. So poor lead targeting leads to a high spam rate and people opting out and unsubscribing, which is bad for your deliverability, which makes it dead. Slow speed to lead. So this one is important if you want to convert the interested leads into booked meetings. And that speed to lead, what I mean by that is the gap time between when a lead replies to you from your, say the lead replies to your email sequence to them, how long does it take then for you to reply back to them? If you can do that within 10 minutes or even 5 minutes, sounds really fast. If you can do that, you're going to book way, way, way more meetings. We have like a dedicated inbox manager for every time something comes in from our account. We make sure that we try to reply to them within 5 to 10 minutes. You can still reply afterwards and have a okay booking rate, but if you really want to get meetings booked, I would say prioritize speed to lead. We have automations built for this that I'll share with you too. And then finally, no randomization, no spam proofing. People aren't aware of this, but there's a lot of spam words that you can run into. Like if you say the word free, you say the word guarantee in your email, you say even words like opportunity or cost. These are being flagged by the email service providers as potential spam. So there's a software that I'll share with you on how to spam proof your email. And then also you don't want to send out the same phrase over and over and over again. So like a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll have like their custom fields, like for first name, like hi Bob. And then they'll have their template on what they're sending, but they don't have any randomization baked into the template other than the lead custom fields. So like, hi, Bob, I noticed you're a marketing agency in Orlando. So like marketing agency in Orlando would be 2 custom fields. But even having custom fields, you still need to randomize the template and make sure that you're not sending out the same type of structure over and over and over again, because AI is getting really good at flagging the same email going out. And by the way, everything I'm talking about here is really not as relevant if you're running an email newsletter. And the reason being is because they know that you've opted in. So if you have a lead opt in, you're way more, you can send way more stuff to them with, you're not going to be vulnerable with cold email, because the providers are Google, Gmail, Outlook. They're trying to protect the user, right? They're trying to protect the user from spam and solicitation. So they're way more strict on what can go out on their platform, and you have to be way more careful. That's why everybody gets it wrong. There's a big technical component to it.
I have a question for spam proofing. Like these words, do they change frequently, or is it like, I don't know. I mean, I guess this is something you always have to be kind of like up and up on, but I'm curious, like, do you see those types of words that people will get flagged for changing frequently, or is it kind of just like the tried and true, like don't have free all in caps and stuff like that? What have you seen?
I've seen it change, the overall list change about like once a month, but it stays largely the same. So there's like a bunch of words, but there are some phrases that get flagged where I'll put my email into the spam checker and be like, hey, I didn't see that word being flagged before. I actually don't know how the backend software works, but I'll show you exactly like what to use to make sure that you can check everything.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah. So here's where email is not dead. If you have a proper cold email specific infrastructure, you're verifying and segmenting your lead list. So it's in your ideal client profile, these are leads that would see benefit from an offer that you're pitching to them. You're optimizing your offer for cold email as a channel. You're communicating it effectively for the channel of cold email. You're creating relevant lead personalizations, a lot with AI, or you're having good custom fields where it seems more like a one-to-one message to them, to the lead, rather than a cold email blast going to 1,000 people. And then if you have fast reply times, which means high speed to lead for the lead, and then you're randomizing and spam proofing, and then combine all that with, you have a good message, you're good at copywriting, you know what to write, all that stuff will generate meetings for you. It seems very complex, but I will break it into easier components for you. So here's how I like to think about cold email. I view it as like a private ads network. It's a little bit different than paid advertising, because with a paid ad, you can't personalize it to the lead as much as you can with cold email, because you can actually mention the lead's name in the email. If you use AI effectively, the way we do it, you can actually have really tailored messaging going out to each lead. You can have different templates, you can have different styles and tonality going out to each lead. So I view it as like a private ads network that you can amplify and enhance with proper personalization. Cold email, in my opinion, too, is like very condensed. It's like a pressure cooker, because you can only, if you're doing it effectively, you only have a few seconds to hit somebody. With an ad, you can run like a 2-3 minute ad sometimes, or even like a 60-second content piece, like a short on Instagram, whatever. Or if you have like a landing page, you have like way more room to talk to the lead, and you can put them down like a unique flow. With cold email, it's condensed because it's just, you only have a few words. Like usually, if you're doing it right, you really want to make your email like 75 words or less, which is very short when you actually go into it. You usually only want to do like 3, maybe 4 sentences, and you want to make everything super clear. And you want to communicate the most valuable pieces that you think the lead would be interested in. So I view it as like condensed copywriting. And then you also must tackle it like a professional, because there's a lot of technical ways you can mess it up. It's kind of like half technical, half science. But if you do it correctly, the potential rewards are very high because you can scale it very easily. It runs in the background. It is cost effective, and you're targeting leads that are within your ICP. Like, you're selecting the lead sheet. You're not reliant on an algorithm like you would be with Facebook or Google. You can pick exactly what leads you're targeting, reach out to them with personalized emails directly to their inbox if you do everything correctly. So the potential rewards are very high for getting it right. It just is a more technical challenge compared to other channels. So here's how I see you can have your best shot at cold email success outside of the actual core components of cold email, which I'll get into. But you have your offer optimization. Having a great offer makes everything easier. How are you different? Here's the thing. Like, if you're emailing like e-commerce agencies with like, I can do your Facebook advertising, they've seen it over and over and over again. If you're reaching out to markets, especially that have been hit a lot with cold email, you have to have a unique offer, and you have to figure out a way to provide them value in order to get them on the phone with you, get them on a meeting with you, and like get them actually interested. So optimizing your offer is like very important. Online content. So I talked about the disadvantage of cold email being there's a lower trust factor immediately when they open it up. So you have to do more work to build it. Usually when a lead is interested in your offer or whatever you're talking about in your email, what they'll do usually is they'll copy and paste your domain. So like Steven@bluecraftleads.com, they'll copy the bluecraftleads.com, put it into the browser, take a look at your website. The next step usually is looking you up on LinkedIn, or seeing if you have any sort of presence online, because they're trying to do their due diligence and not opt into something or have a meeting where they feel vulnerable because they didn't do any research. So the more content you have online, the better. A lot of people don't have a lot of content. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it just makes everything easier. So if you want to have your best shot at cold email success, the more content you have on the internet, the more case studies, the more social proof that you have, the better. And then a video sales letter is the thing I would say is the #1 conversion rate increaser for cold email. So cold email, they can't see your face. They don't know who you are. If they go to your landing page that you're directing them to, and you have a clear like 3 to 5, 7-minute video on there where you're explaining your offer, it aligns with what you're talking about in your cold email. They can see your face, they can see you talking. That is a very good way to increase the amount of meetings that you book, because they now feel like they've met you a little bit. You're kind of turning cold email into, now they're a little bit warmer. Now they can book a meeting with you. They'll probably go back to your email after watching your video sales letter and then reply right in there. But sometimes people come in and they book on your website after viewing your video. And then a river landing page. So what I mean by river landing page is, after the video sales letter, if you kind of take them down a flow, a logical progression of like, okay, here's my video, here's what we do. You can book time on my calendar here. But if you want to do some more due diligence and scroll down the page, you can see more in depth about what we do, like talk about the services that you provide, talk about the case studies that you have, the testimonials, who you've worked with, why they should work with you, how you're different. You kind of bring them down a logical progression on a landing page, which I say river because you're kind of taking them down a flow. The other one is like the brochure style landing page for a company that, say, does like a bunch of different services and they're not prioritizing one service over the other. A lot of companies have this, like that you go to their website, you can look at all their different services, go to the different tabs. What I would recommend for your best shot with cold email is having a landing page built for whatever you're pitching in the cold email itself. So you have the video, you have the river, they can easily book. It's not taking them to different places on your website and taking them off the logical progression that they're going through when they're trying to become interested in whatever you're selling. And simple landing pages work super, super well. It could literally just be a video, a little paragraph description, and then like a scheduling page. And then speed to lead being very important. You're going to get more meetings booked the faster that you reply to people. So what we do for you is we create automations for whenever somebody replies within your cold email sending tool, you actually get notified right to your phone, and it'll say interested lead. Here's the lead details. Go back into the sending system and reply to them. So we get notified every single time a lead replies to our emails, interested or uninterested. And then we go back and we try to reply as fast as we can. And we can have that automation going to anybody on your sales team too. So whoever's in charge of lead conversion or nurturing sales or booking the sale, we can have an automation going directly to them. But I would say that automation is very, very crucial, because otherwise you're going to go like an hour or two without knowing that a lead replied, or even like a day. And then it's going to be way harder to convert them into a meeting. So that is why I would say how you have your best shot at cold email success outside of the actual emails infrastructure itself. So I'm going to go to the core 3 components, but before I go to there, I want to talk about how to optimize your offer and a few key frameworks I have for that. So for offer optimization, I would say cold email is pretty much only meant for B2B. The email service providers are more protective over consumer products. The other reason, consumers on their platform, as opposed to a business email address. But the other reason why it's primarily B2B is because cold email primarily works best for people who have a higher ticket item. So like $5,000 LTV or higher works the best. It can work for things as low as like a $1,000 LTV for a client, or even like a demo of a software product where you're trying to get a big user base. But most of the time you're going to, like, say you run emails for a month, you get like 10 booked meetings. You send like a couple thousand emails. Of those 10, say like 3 convert into clients for you. If you're selling anything over $5,000, you're going to immediately, within 1 month, make back all of the money you spent on cold email. So it's really cool, because if you sell something expensive, the cold email costs are very insignificant compared to what you're selling, and you can like immediately make your ROI, which is why a lot of statistics out there show like how effective email marketing is from like a crazy ROI ratio. But if you don't do it the right way, you're going to be spinning your head and like trying to do a bunch of different software stuff. Trying different software is like failing. It can be very frustrating. But if you get it right, the ROI like almost all the time is almost always there, because it really only takes like one sale to cover like a lot of it. For demand generation versus demand capture, here's the way I like to think about offers, and it has a little bit to do with market awareness stages. So demand generation, these are things where a cold email is like you're interrupting somebody. So if you can generate demand on the spot versus capturing demand, you're going to be a lot better off. So with demand capture, say this is where like Google pay-per-click works the best, because people are typing in exactly what they want into a search bar. So say somebody's looking for like a wooden chair, or they're looking for like a specific appliance tool to do something like construction work. They'll go in and type in like screwdriver on Google, and then whoever is advertising for screwdrivers will pop up first, and then they can click between the options. That's like capturing demand. Demand generation is where you can morph and communicate your offer in a way where it's attractive to somebody over interruption-based marketing. So that's where cold email works best. If you can get your offer to be interesting enough to where you're going to generate demand like on the spot, somebody reading your email, as long as they're like within your target audience in your ICP. A lot of this has to do with market awareness. So like right now, if you were to go out and cold email everybody saying I can build a website for you, everybody's heard of websites. Everybody has seen it before. They've seen websites. It's like market awareness stage level 5. Nobody's going to take you up on saying like, hey, I need a website, unless they're like super, super in the market for it. However, back in like 1999, if you emailed everybody that I can build a website for you, that was super new. So it was very demand generation, because it's very interesting. Nobody knows anything about it. It's probably very hard to outsource. So it's like a very unique offer. So the purpose of me talking about this is, even if you have like a very high level market awareness for your offer, if you're doing like Facebook or like paid advertising, or you're doing any type of service that's like been marketed before, what you can do is you can use some offer packaging ninja work, and you can make your offer seem like it's very unique based on the way you package it. One way is like particular to a target audience. Like we do paid advertising for manufacturing companies. We have a unique mechanism where after we run the paid ads, we will follow up with the leads for you to book them into meetings. So like some unique framework or mechanism, particular target audience. Maybe you have like a really unique lead magnet or something of free value that you can offer to somebody. Maybe you have like super compelling case studies or testimonials within their niche. All these different variables that you can package your offer in a way where it's going to be more attractive and seem like it's lower on the market awareness spectrum, so it becomes more demand generation. The more you move to market awareness stage 5, the more it's going to be demand capture, because it's more of a commodity. So people are not interested in it. But the more you can create a unique offer and package it the right way, make it compelling, you're going to move your offer more into this demand generation side of the scale, and it's going to make your cold emails convert way more. One method I like to do for that is like chunking up versus chunking down. And what I mean by that is, how much are you pitching the actual mechanism of what you're selling, your service mechanism itself, versus the benefit. So if you're selling, say you're selling like me, like lead generation, cold email marketing, are you selling, hey, I can do cold email marketing for you? Are you saying like, hey, I have a really unique AI procedure where we can build you a really in-depth cold email engine? Or are you saying like, I can book 10 meetings on your calendar? 10 meetings on your calendar is a benefit versus the mechanism. So you can play with those two depending on how other people are pitching their similar services to you to stand out. And the more market awareness you have, the more I like to either go really specific on mechanism if you have something really unique that you do, or pitching almost benefit exclusively and not even talking about your mechanism. One example I gave for this is we were doing what I mentioned. We were doing cold email for website development. We were doing it for this company. They were targeting nonprofit organizations, and we completely switched their mechanism from like, we can build you a website that converts more, to we can help you get more donations to your site for your mission as a nonprofit. Because what they would do is they would take a nonprofit company, revamp their website, and do some marketing in the back end to drive more donations to their cause. And we didn't pitch website at all. We only pitched benefit. And it's because website has such a high market awareness that nobody's going to be interested in it over cold email. So,
Stephen, I want to say one more thing that maybe not everyone's aware of, because in this point of demand gen versus demand capture, one thing that I know is possible for cold outbound is there are ways in the back end through some kind of magic that you guys do where you can actually, it's not like lead scoring, but we can actually get an idea of intent for some leads. We can track if they've had some search history that would be relevant to what you're selling. So we can identify out of the lead lists who's like hot to trot because they've been asking some questions or they've been visiting some websites of competitors and things like that. Am I right?
You're absolutely right. We do that in a few ways. So some of the common databases where you can get your list of leads from, and a lead export, they have buyer intent signals. So it's usually going to be way, way, way lower volume than if you were to scrape for filters within your ideal client profile. So, but like say, yeah, you're looking for like manufacturing companies, but then you're looking for manufacturing companies who are interested in paid advertisement, for example. So say you get like a list of 2,000 manufacturing companies that match your ideal filters, it'll become like 20 or 30 probably that are searching actively for paid advertisements. However, there is one really unique way that we've been doing this successfully, and it is for things like scraping for a LinkedIn job post. So we actually just ran this for an accounting company. We're looking for any company within their industry targets that are listing jobs for QuickBooks and like bookkeeping or tax services. And then we have a workflow to automatically enrich those companies that are posting that job for the decision makers of that company. And then we automatically pull those into a campaign that is now a campaign that's like highly tailored and relevant, because we're saying like, hi, I noticed your job posting for blank, and it would pull in whatever they're posting for, and then how they can be competitive compared to like an internal hire for what the company's hiring for. That is like a highly relevant system.
This is where all this stuff gets like more on ninja level, where it's like you can get so targeted and so specific. And this is where, again, like the AI, I think a lot of expectations for marketing and sales as AI becomes more sophisticated is like people are going to only want to see stuff that's super tailored to them. And at the moment, ads we can get quite specific, but I think that cold email right now, or email in general, is a place where we can get highly tailored with the messaging where it feels like it's a personal email. There's not a lot of channels, right? We can't send people to completely 100% tailored landing pages that have their name on it and stuff yet as easily. But cold email is definitely these opportunities, right? And Stephen talked about enrichment, right? I think you're going to talk a little bit more about it, but that's really, I think, where a lot of that magic can happen.
Very well said. Yeah, it is moving to a game of like, because AI is becoming more available too. So like, how are we taking an individual's lead data, like their company, their job title, what size of company they are, what they're looking for, like job posting or what they've searched, what website is their company, what company are they working for, what does that company like specialize in? You can pull all these lead data filters or columns in a sheet, and then you can use AI to like really make everything really tailored. And we're trying to build a software product actually where it is like every single email is unique to a lead. So it's like every email is different, which would really help your deliverability too with landing in the inbox. Because if each email is different, how is the email service provider going to flag you for sending out the same thing over and over again? Because it's actually different. So we're working on a product right now that we're probably going to launch within like a month, where it makes it like really easy to use AI to make a tailored message for a lead that is also trained on all the best proven email templates and a company's information that for like using it to sell for whatever a company that you're using it for.
Yeah, I mean, and that just like another thing is like that's very cool because I remember you even telling me like you can scrape for like what they've been posting about. So like you can talk about like, well, where they are in the world, right? Like, it must be getting hot in Miami now, right? But this is so tailored, but it's automated. So it's crazy. I just want you to be aware of time though, because we've got about 9 minutes or so, and I want to make sure you get to all the juiciest, most important things. We might have to get you back for more for a second time, but I just want you to be aware.
Thank you. I think the most like more of it's going to go quickly now that I continue, because a lot of this was like psychology stuff where I'm giving examples. This one is a great framework I took from Alex Hormozi. It's a value equation on how to create like a really compelling offer. And I'll give a quick example. It's Netflix versus Blockbuster. So what's the dream outcome of Netflix and Blockbuster? Somebody watches a movie that they want to watch. If they go to Blockbuster back in the day, what's the perceived likelihood of them finding something? High. They scan the store. However, the time delay and the effort and sacrifice, which you want to get as close to zero as possible in the denominator of the fraction there, they have to go to the store, they have to drive there, everything. Netflix just removed the bottom two. It made that zero, close to zero as possible. And now they outcompeted, obviously, and like had bigger value. So if you can think about your offer in this framework, you're going to have a better shot at like making something really compelling to somebody. And variables that you can play with for increasing the perceived likelihood that somebody achieves a dream outcome is how many people you've done it for before, what's your credibility like, how are you reducing the risk for them? Are you giving them some sort of guarantee that you hit a certain achievement metric? Are you making it like free for them in some way up front? And are you providing any value that gives them like a taste of what you can provide up front in the form of a lead magnet? Like, I'll be able to go through this pretty quick. The 3 core email components, in my opinion, are proper infrastructure, lead data, and messaging. So if you master all of these core 3, you'll see results. So for infrastructure, you need a tool that is built for cold email. The one that I recommend is instantly.ai. It's a tool particularly and specifically for sending cold emails at scale. You need to buy multiple domains that are lookalikes to your company. So if you have a company called like, I'll use Nike as an example. You want to have like Go Nike, NikePro.com, get Nike.com, these lookalike domains, because the reason why you need those is, number one, to protect your main domain, but then also so that you can create additional email accounts and have an army of email accounts that you can diversify and distribute the sending from. So it would be non-human-like behavior if you were to send out like 200 emails one day from your Gmail account to cold prospects. However, if you send out like 5 per day, you're now looking more like a human behavior. So what you need to have is like 50, 40 different email accounts that you can send 5 to 10 emails per day from. And that way you're able to achieve the scale that you're desiring. You also want to diversify your email service providers too, in case any 1 month one of them has like higher filter or restraints on cold email or another. And you want to have different providers going out so that you're landing better with the leads, and like Outlook's going to Outlook, Gmail's going to Gmail. So we diversify your email sender accounts too. So it's multiple different domains, emails, and the actual provider itself. We diversify everything for you, and we hook it all up into the cold email sending tool so that we have everything churning and it's all automated. You also need to verify and authenticate your emails to protect against hackers and spoofers and phishers. And this is something that the email providers look fondly upon. They like to see that you're verifying your email account, and a lot of people don't know that this like even exists. You should also be warming your email account as well. So warming meaning you don't want to actually send any cold emails at all in the first like 2 or 3 weeks as you warm up your email, which is a tool or a software component built in to Instantly AI, the cold email sending tool, where it puts your email in a pool of other users, and it will automatically email them and like open the email for you, reply. It makes it look like a human sending behavior for all of your different email accounts. And what that does, it just warms up your email, and the providers see it as like, okay, now this email is a human. Okay. And then you send out to the cold prospects at like a different ratio compared to your warming. And it all just makes it so that you're delivering to the inbox, and you're not sending from like it would be unreasonable to spin up an email account. You create a new email account, and then you're immediately sending like 50 a day from that account. It just wouldn't look like a human behavior. So that's why you warm up your emails. Now, pro mode, I call it pro mode because it's the stuff that we do that's more advanced on the back end. We create automations for notifying you every single time a lead replies to your email. So that is the speed to lead, fast reply rate type of stuff I'm talking about, so you don't miss any leads. And then also we have it to where every time a lead is interested, we automatically transfer that data into any CRM of your choosing. So if you want to keep using your HubSpot, we can automatically pull the lead into your HubSpot. So you not only get notified, but then also you can keep track of all the interested leads coming in as well. For the lead data, you want to get as specific as possible and make sure that you're really thinking about what your target audience should be and what filters you need to target for. So get very specific. What you want to do too is like figure out the main database that you should be sourcing from. Apollo.io is like the main one. It has like a ton of information. You might be familiar with ZoomInfo as well. Apollo is like the main competitor to ZoomInfo. Very, very similar data. If you want to get anything where it's like technical relevance, like if somebody, you want to only target leads that are using this particular software, there's a tool called Built With where you can look up all the companies using that particular software. It gives as much information as you can, and then it'll give you their email account, their phone number. If you have something where you're like targeting restaurant owners, or you're targeting anything with like brick and mortar buildings, like physical location, there's a tool called scrap.io where you can filter and scrape all of the Google Maps data, which you then can enrich for a email, phone number, contact name, company name. And then here's kind of a unique one too. If you want to target people that are like following a LinkedIn competitor of yours, or that you have a LinkedIn person that you want to scrape all their followers, you can use it is a very niche tool called scrapelead.io, and you can get all the information you need in terms of LinkedIn profiles, which you can then also enrich for email, name, company name, all that. Pro mode. Here's how you take it to the next level. You can use your own, we can set this up for you. We use clay.com, which is a personalization lead platform, and we hook up our OpenAI ChatGPT key into that. And what we do is we use all the lead data to create custom personalizations. The one that we did for the web development company with the nonprofit organizations, here's like an example of a unique personalization workflow What we did is we scraped every nonprofit lead's website. Almost all of them talk about their company mission statement because they're a nonprofit company. And what we did is we took that mission statement and we turned it into a compliment that we could say in like a PS line of an email. So it was like the actual email, the value proposition, et cetera. And then PS, love what you guys are doing to help the children in inner cities become more educated, for example, or like whatever the nonprofit was. But that one really, really hit because it was like very specific to what they were doing, taken directly from their website. There's a lot more that you can do too, but for messaging, here's a couple quick frameworks I would say to keep your messaging the most effective it can be. If you have an email that is too long, so like 150 words or more, 100 words, I would keep it maximum to like 100, 125. But usually if you do less than 75, you're going to have the best time with cold email, get the most amount of replies. It amazes people too, like even like a 1-sentence email, like say you're selling like an AI type of unique thing for like social media, you could be like, hi, John, are you interested in AI social media automation? ? And then people will reply and you can get back to them. But if you can keep it as short as even like 1 sentence. So in the subject line and first line, I would say the main things to pay attention to are why you and why now, and creating like relevance onto why they should actually open up and read your email. So why are you reaching out to them? Like in the first line, I wouldn't spare words with like, hi, John, I hope this email finds you well. I would literally get straight to the point because they can see in the preview text of their message, like what you're going to be reaching out to them. So you could be like, hi, John, my ops manager showed me your website and thought I'd reach out. Or like, hi, John, I see that I was looking for chiropractors in the Orlando area and came across your site, wanted to hit you with this message, like something that's like really, you can create like personalized fields, but then you want to make it seem like relevant onto why they would open your email up. A lot of times they think you might be like a potential customer, or you might be a referral. This is not like bait and switch because you are looking for chiropractors in Orlando, for instance, because of what you have to offer. But you can package it in a way where they want to open it up. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah,
See, we're at time. So I want to make sure that there's more like, I mean, I'm looking at your slides. There's more juicy stuff that Stephen has to share about utilizing AI and all that stuff. But because I know some of you guys probably all have other things to pop off to, where can everyone reach you and get more information from you? I know you said there's some goodies and stuff like that. I'm going to have this slide deck I'm going to pass to everyone today, and we'll put it up on the community and I'll send it through email. But there is so much. I think the overarching message here is that you obviously come with an engineer's eye, because the amount of detail that you have for each stage of this process is why I asked you here. It's unlike any other company that I've talked to before, and it's just so thoughtful because not everyone is as thoughtful and measured in their approach to doing what you do. But yeah, tell us, everyone, where they should connect with you and where they can find more information.
Thank you. Apologize for having the slide deck be a little bit too long. I'll get to like what we offer. It's your built to own cold email engine. So the main way that we differentiate is that we actually will build this for you, help you with all the strategy, email templates, all the leads. We strategize with you on how you can make your offer the most compelling for communication over cold email. And we have multiple strategy calls with you. We actually will launch your cold email for you. But then the difference is that you don't have to be reliant on me as the agency owner, and you don't have to be reliant on a third party. We will actually install the system for you and train your team. So if you're the founder, we'll train your sales team on how to run this in the background. And that way you can get cold email meetings booked for you in the background while you focus on other stuff. And you get to own the system, and it's more cost effective for you as opposed to going to a lead generation company. So we really tried to engineer the best system where you could own it, but still get results without relying on anybody.
It becomes like an actual asset of your business, which is incredibly powerful. All of us have worked with agencies who have kind of kept things behind curtains and blocked access. And when the agency leaves, they take all of the work and everything with them. That's the opposite of what Stephen does, which is why I think also what you offer is so cool.
Thank you, Victoria. Thank you. If you want to read this slide, it's a bit about the process that we walk through for you up into launch and handoff, and then also how we can continue to support you, where you continue to have leads that you can upload into the system. You can continue to have support. If anything goes wrong with the tech, you can reach out to us and we'll be there for you. So it's kind of like a launch and handoff. You own the system, but then you can also use us for continued support.
But it's basically like once it's set up, it can basically run on its own.
Exactly. Exactly. You do have to do some work. Like you have to keep uploading new emails into the system and do some of the management there. It's not like fully autonomous, but it's as close as it can be. And we give you all the tools to make it as effective and easy for you as possible. Here's some free offers for you guys for joining the call today. If you want to get on a call with me, you can scan the QR code. Just for joining the call and for being on this call today, I'll source you for free 2,000 leads within your ICP after we strategize on the call and figure out what you're looking for. I'll also live create a cold email script for you and give you access to all of our proven email sequence templates. So you guys can see like what is working today in cold email. And I can also help you tailor it to whatever you're trying to sell as well. And then we're really advanced with AI and automation. So if there's any way you can save time within your company, you can have a chat with me and I'll identify that for you. And we can talk about automation and AI to help you save time. So thank you for all of your time today. Use that QR code if you would like to schedule a call with me. You can also have my email here, website. I'll drop the link to this presentation in the chat too.
Amazing. Thank you so much. It's like your passion for the topic comes through, and we all learned a lot. So thank you so much. And please, guys, if this is something that you're interested in, Stephen is definitely the guy to chat from and take advantage of all the stuff that he's offering, because it's really, really cool. Really, really cool. So thank you, Stephen, and hope everyone has an amazing weekend.